we are a little bit freaked out right now.
We're tripped out because of something we just learned backstage.
Right there.
On Twitter.
This is crazy and freaky, and this is a terrible way to start out a special, but we just learned something nutty back there.
Randy and I just found out on Twitter that rapper Pitbull was a rescue.
So weird, guys.
A lot of people don't know that about him.
He's doing a lot better with children.
He is getting better with children.
You still can't approach him from behind.
No, he'll bite the shit out of your hand.
And when he clamps down with that rapper's jaw, boom.
It's either him or you.
That's right.
And when you approach him, you got to go like this,
and then like this.
It's like this, and then like this.
J-Lo never understood that.
No.
That's the problem.
She found out the hard way.
That's right. I love that he did a Dr. Pepper commercial. I love that Pitbull was cool enough and he did those Bud Light commercials. But when he did the Pepsi commercial, that's when Jay and I, we were like,
we're drawing the line. Not so much because he sold out again, but because for a minute, Pepsi decided to be cool.
Why is
I don't
Pepsi?
understand that.
Why are you trying to be cool, Pepsi, all right? Just embrace who you are as a cola, and then maybe we would drink you.
All right. If we could be twin Don Drapers for a moment, and we could pitch a new ad campaign for Pepsi. Here's the commercial, all right? It's just a waitress. She's staring directly in the camera, and she's like, no, we don't, but we have Pepsi. Does that work? Pepsi work?
Is that all right?
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So sorry. Yeah. Wait, no, don't leave. Don't leave.
Don't go. Why?
Don't go.
Why are you going?
We should have said yes.
We should have said yes.
We should have said yes. Pepsi.
We should have said yes.
That's...
We should have lied to your face, told you it was Coke, and let you sort it out.
That's right. That's the new Pepsi challenge right there.
Pepsi, the default cola. How about that? There you go.
When there isn't anything else, Pepsi. It's great to be back in the Midwest. Great to be in Wisconsin, man.
Yeah. Feels good.
We have been here less than 24 hours, and we've both consumed enough cheese to crap out a Packers fan. Literally. Fully grown.
Full grown.
Shareholder.
Yeah.
Full grown shareholder. No, but it's good to be back in the Midwest. We grew up in St. Louis, the Midwest. Actually, you could have blindfolded us, not told us that we were coming to Wisconsin, and we would have known exactly that we were in the Midwest. Why? Because when we got off the plane, we were face to face with the world's greatest mullet.
Oh my God. It was so beautiful.
It was glorious.
Yes. Here's why it was so great, because it was an unironic mullet.
Yeah, just a mullet for the good of the game.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
A mullet for mullet's sake.
Right? See, I live in a very hip neighborhood in Los Angeles. If I see a mullet in my neighborhood, my first thought is, fuck you.
You're an
Really?
asshole.
You're gonna take that away
How
from America
dare
too?
you.
How dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah. Why don't you get on your recumbent unicycle?
Yeah. Pull up your hilarious acid wash jorts.
Get your gondolier pole, even though we're nowhere near the water, and pedal the hell out of here.
That's right. Take your artisanal lemonade with you too,
That's
bitch.
right. Boysenberry, get out of here. But you see a mullet in Wisconsin, in Nebraska, in Missouri.
In its natural habitat.
In the wild, as it were.
Yes. A free-range mullet, as we like to call it.
A grass-fed mullet.
A simple, organic, Whole Foods mullet. I don't
Yes.
know why.
That is amazing, right? That is literally like watching a horse ride another horse. You're
It's
like,
so... How is this happening in front of my eyes?
Secretariat on top of Seabiscuit?
I don't
There's
know.
So many hooves.
I don't know. But I know I want to follow that guy around and find out what his next 8 decisions are going to be in his life if this was one of them.
That's right.
Because that was a choice.
It was. But it got us thinking. We jumped down the rabbit hole, Jason and I, and we started talking. There is no mullet Hall of Fame in the United States of America. There should be.
How could there not be a mullet Hall of Fame
If
yet?
I were going to build a mullet Hall of Fame, I would put it inside of a Supercuts.
There you go. Honoring the birthplace of the mullet, I appreciate that. If I were doing a mullet Hall of Fame, I would put it right behind a Supercuts. So literally, it's a business in the front and a party in the back.
I love that. Just have Dog the Bounty Hunter induct everyone.
Oh, God.
All-time inductee.
That might be the biggest mullet ever on television.
Ever created.
His mullet is so big, he doesn't even know what's going on back there.
has
You know
no
that?
idea.
I was watching him one time and I saw he had little feathers in the side. I was like, oh, that's so great. He's honoring Native American oh shit, that's a dead bird.
Dead bird. He was driving a Jeep earlier and it
Yeah.
flew in. He doesn't know what gets caught back there. That's a dream catcher, you guys.
And a dream crusher, if you ask his wife.
That's right.
Let's be honest.
So we started talking about the Mullet Hall of Fame. We're like, there should be some people who are just automatically inducted in.
Automatic bids.
If you played in the NHL between 88 and 92,
You're in.
automatically in. Or if you play in Russia today,
You're
automatically in. Katie Lang.
Let's get the female up in this
Ladies
piece.
can have mullets, you better believe it. February could be Black Mullet Month.
There you go.
It's controversial, but we're backing it.
That's right. Here's the thing. Black people don't think they have mullets. You do.
Yeah, from the Jerry curl to the cornrow, it's tight, then it gets messy down
Those
here.
are
all right?
mullets.
No, Jason, those are blullets.
Black mullets. Yes. And if we all agree with that, then that means we all then also agree that Allen Iverson has been rocking a mullet for 2 decades.
Not a weave.
Not a weave.
Not a weave.
We talking about mullets.
We talking about mullets,
I mean,
man.
we talking about mullets.
Not a weave.
Not a weave.
Not a weave.
We talking about
We talking
mullets.
about mullets,
I mean,
man.
come on, man. We
We
talking about
mullets? Come
We talking
on, man.
about mullets.
We talking about
man.
mullets,
Mullets, man.
We up here, we've been doing comedy for 20 years. We up here talking about mullets, man.
Come on, man.
Mullets?
Mullets. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Sadly, that could have gone on for an hour.
I feel like it did. I feel like that could have been its own
special.
special.
That's
yeah.
right.
So we got flown first class for a job down to New Orleans.
And this is a story we're going to tell you about how we met Richard Simmons.
Yeah. And he sexually harassed Randy.
Good
It's a
times,
magical story.
It's basically the story of America.
It is. Since the Industrial Revolution. All right, so we get flown to New Orleans and we get to go into the first class lounge.
Another place we don't normally go.
We were very naive. We thought everyone in the first class lounge would be celebrating the fact that they were in the first class lounge.
Party.
I don't know what we thought it was going to be, like the gathering of the Juggalos or something like that.
People throwing poo at Tila
Just
tequila.
spraying each other with orange Faygo soda.
Family! No, it was not that.
Turns out the first class lounge is one of the saddest, quietest places on earth.
Oh my God.
It's just a room filled with a bunch of sad, old, rich, bald white dudes.
It was like Fox News the night that Obama won the second time.
It was.
It just, everyone's quiet. You could literally hear Britt Hume's eyes drooping even further.
God. People were getting fired from their cubicle. It was weird.
So we're like, I guess we gotta be quiet. So we're typing and we're quiet. Then all of a sudden in blows what can only be described as a gay tornado.
A gay NATO.
A torgado.
A shark gato.
Sharks are flying
What
everywhere.
It was
madness. Amazing. It was like, I know you.
Look
get
at
it,
you.
I'll take a picture with you. You put that piece together. It sounded like 8 people. Okay. I turn around. It's not 8 people. Oh no, it's Richard Simmons in a sky blue $11 velour jumpsuit.
Now, how do we know it was $11?
He told everybody.
Told everyone in the whole lounge. And I would say it was less of a jumpsuit and more of a jumper.
And I have 2 daughters, so I would say it was less of a jumper and more of a romper.
There you
All right,
go.
Grown man. Grown man in a romper. Now his hair at this point is so wispy, it was totally messing with the Wi-Fi.
In the whole lounge.
I logged in and out 6 times while he was standing in that thing.
No, he brushed by me and my phone went from 3 bars down to roaming.
Roaming.
Roaming in America.
That is, he was off the data plan.
I had to get a special international data
right,
plan
yes, you did.
because of his wispy hair.
Now, it was a crazy first class on this flight. Crazier than normal, but again, we don't know what that means.
Here's who was in first class with us. Actress Laura Dern.
Which was weird because we specifically requested a non-Dern flight.
We asked for it, but they didn't give it
It's
to
like
us.
a kosher meal, you gotta ask for it ahead
All
of
right,
time.
so Laura Dern, her mother Diane Ladd, another famous actress, Richard Simmons, his manager, me, Randy, not sitting together, attractive black woman, her son, and her husband, who kind of looked like Avon Barksdale from The Wire.
It wasn't Avon
Wasn't.
Barksdale from The Wire. It was so much better.
We'll get to it in a minute.
Now, the culture when you get on the plane.
This is the way of the plane. If you guys are like us, you do the same thing. You get on the plane, you get in your seat, you establish your space, and you expand that
Start
shit as far
expanding
as
it,
you
know what I mean?
possibly can.
Manifest destiny to the armrest and beyond.
You might throw an elbow, too.
You might throw a Matumbo elbow if you want. Wag a finger if you have to. We always get an empty seat in between us, hoping that no one will sit there,
But
but
we're such pessimists that we always assume that the biggest guy is always going to be the guy.
6'8", 350. The guy's got 4 double downs from Kentucky Fried Chicken. We're like, come on, man.
Come on. It's chicken for bread.
Chicken for bread.
What are you doing to us? And then he walks by and he does
Like,
the next thing.
Because everybody on the plane wants a small Asian man who can fold himself into an orchid. That's all you
all we
want
want.
there. And that dude wants an even smaller Asian woman who can fold herself into a paper crane.
That's the
it, just-
way of the plane.
But Richard Simmons is like, F that.
Richard Simmons is like, you know what? I'm going to turn us into a sky community, and I'm going to be the sky mayor. So this was his plan.
Richard Simmons gets up on his chair, okay, on his knees. Do you understand that if my daughters did this, I'd be like, sit down like a normal person.
You're
all right?
7 years old. Act your age.
Richard Simmons, eyes darting around, hair up like a feral squirrel. He's
Right.
all over the place. Looking at everybody, but talking to he changed the molecular
He
structure
actually
of that
did
plane.
change the structure of the plane.
He was talking to everybody. He started greeting people even though they had just been greeted 2 steps earlier.
Yeah.
There was a black dude with dreads who walked on the plane, and he literally repeated over and over, I whip my hair back and forth. I whip my hair back and forth.
I don't know how he was trying to connect with a black man with a Willow Smith song, but he did. And then he turned around and he spotted Randy and I not sitting together.
He could not wrap his wispy hair around that at all.
How could two people who look alike not be sitting with each other?
Literally, so for the next 3 minutes on the flight, he just stood there and he was like, wait a minute, are you you?
Are you you?
Are you you?
Are you you?
Are you you? What is going on? What is going on? He literally starts writing a Broadway musical that I would never pay to see.
Yeah. Like Mr. Saigon.
Or Guys and More Guys.
Whatever
it was.
his musical would be.
Now the plane takes off and immediately Simmons just drops.
I think he's dead.
We're
I'm
like-
like, where's Aaron Hernandez? Honestly,
Somebody put a mirror under his mouth and see if he's breathing, right? It's like someone took the batteries out of your kid's Furby. He's out.
he's out.
I took this opportunity to talk to the woman next to me, find out who her husband was. It wasn't Avon Barksdale from The Wire.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, it was way better. It was the RZA from the Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang in that house.
Amazing.
At this point, we realized that, like, if this plane goes down, we're not even mentioned in the obituary.
Oh,
you know what I
no.
mean? It's the RZA, Laura Dern, Richard Simmons, and a couple of Jews who look alike.
That's
all right?
it. If that.
If that. I'd be lucky to get that, right? So I was talking to her and I was like on the internet, which was intermittent again, Simmons' hair. So I'm on the internet and I was like, have you ever heard of the Wu-Tang name generator to the woman?
She had not heard of it.
Do you guys know what it is? It's a computer program where you type your name in and it tells you what your name would be if you were in the Wu-Tang Clan.
It's brilliant.
It's so brilliant. The comedian Donald Glover put his name in there and got Childish Gambino.
That's his rap name.
That's so
Brilliant.
genius, I can't even begin to tell you. So I was like, let's have some fun. We're on the flight. We have some time. Going back to LA. What if we put the RZA in the Wu-Tang name generator?
Now I'm over here and I hear him say that. I'm like, don't do that. You do not want to do that.
Why do we not want
That's like putting tinfoil in a microwave. You're just asking for problems. Literally, we could go back in time to what is going on? And nobody wants that.
But I was like, you know what? I'm going to use that as motivation. I'm actually going to put the RZA in the Wu-Tang name generator, and I did. And you know what the RZA's Wu-Tang name would be?
Alan Dershowitz.
It was amazing.
That's
I
a
couldn't
true
believe it.
story. That's a true story.
It's like it knew because he had the most chutzpah in that group.
He really
Now,
did.
So 3/4 of the way into the flight, Richard Simmons just shoots up.
He's alive.
He's up, right? Walks over to Laura Dern. She's sitting with that wall in front of her in the very first row, right? He sits with his back to the wall, starts stuffing his legs under her chair.
It's like he's stowing himself away under Laura
like a
Dern's seat.
sky blue velour valise. He's
Right.
underneath there, right? Then he starts just talking to her, and within a minute, they're both openly weeping.
Just sobbing all over first
Right,
class.
it's so uncomfortable, and then I gotta pee, and here's what happens. I walk up to pee, he stops me, sitting down on the floor, tears coming down from his eyes. He says, I wanna kiss you on the lips, and I wanna take you to Italy.
Now, I've known Randy for most of our lives. I have never heard another grown man say that to my brother. And the big brother in me, I'm 5 minutes older, should have stepped in and been like, hey, Richard, that's hilarious. He's married to a woman. You're such a great guy. But the comedian in me was like, let's see how this shit plays out.
So he
This
left.
is gonna be hilarious.
He left me on the vine to deal with it. I said, Richard, I'm a happily married man to a woman. Are we talking about the Amalfi Coast here?
I was like,
'Cause
'cause
I
he'll
could do that
that.
trip.
Separate rooms.
Or
he'll
a
do that.
junior suite with a pop-out bed. I
He
could
will do
it
that.
right there. So I literally effectively shut Richard Simmons down, but here's why Richard Simmons is amazing. Here's why he took the weight off and has kept it off for
And
so
why
many years.
he's an inspiration.
He
to
is
America.
tenacious and he is an inspiration.
He knew that the Italy thing was off the table, but he's like, I bet I can still kiss this guy.
So he pretends like he can't hear me so that I'll lean down close enough and say it to him and he can plant one on my lips. Now, that is genius.
It's brilliant. And he didn't just pretend that he couldn't. He became like a put-upon character in a Tennessee Williams play.
He suddenly is like, oh,
"Yo,
it's so hot on this.
It's so
I can't
hot
hear
in
what
it.
you say. It's so hot on
What
this
are we
one."
talking about?
What are we
It's so
talking-
hot.
he literally becomes a gay Southern Stephen A. Smith. He's like,
what are we
"What's that?
talking about?
What are we talking about?
It's like the Staples Center's a glass menagerie.
Talk about Kobe Bryant's getting by on the kindness of strangers. What are we talking about?
Come on, Skip.
So I turned to Laura Dern, who I've never met in my life. I'm like, Dern, can you help a brother out? She just looks at me weird. Then all of a sudden, Richard Simmons grabs my hand and starts pulling me down. I'm like, Dern, 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 Dern.
Going down.
Then Richard Simmons takes my thumb, sticks my thumb in his mouth, and starts sucking my thumb.
Not just sucking his thumb.
He was going at it.
He was
all right?
nursing on your thumb. He was like a goat at a petting zoo with nipple confusion.
All right.
Going at the thumb.
And at that moment, I kind of had an out-of-body experience where I started to hover above myself and watch this whole situation play out. And I thought to myself, what would have happened if I would have met a woman in the New Orleans first class lounge and then 3/4 of the way into the flight, I just started sucking her thumb?
I'll tell you exactly what would happen. At that moment, we all would have found out who the air marshal was.
That's
You know
right.
what I mean?
So funny as we were like taxing around because you know what? I didn't hate Richard Simmons. I actually liked the guy. That's how
He
magnetic
did turn us into a sky. People were talking to each other, white people talking to other white people.
It was an amazing
It was a
thing.
magical thing.
And so I was just for the fun of it, I just put Richard Simmons' name in the Wu-Tang name generator because it's fun to think of Richard Simmons in the Wu-Tang Clan, right?
Just period.
Just because he'd end every song with, and walk it out. Let's
Yeah.
walk it out, bitch.
Walk it out, bitch.
So I thought, well, how funny would it be if Richard Simmons was in the Wu-Tang Clan? I put his name in the Wu-Tang name generator, and again, they
This
got
time
it.
they got it right.
They got it right. You know what Richard Simmons' Wu-Tang name would be?
The effeminate wizard.
You gotta love that.
That's
You gotta
totally
love
true.
it. You gotta love it. Thank you.
Nailed it.
I love Stephen A. Smith. We both love him. If you don't know who he is, he's a very bombastic ESPN sports pundit. He's on all those arguing shows.
Here's why we love Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. Smith always runs out of breath with 8 things left to say. And instead of like a normal person breathing, he just powers through that shit to the end of the sentence.
Every time. Now, he knows a lot of athletes. He's going to tell you how he was just talking to those athletes the night before. But our favorite thing, and this is so small, but our favorite thing is sometimes he'll drop what technology he was using.
It's
to
brilliant.
us, it's hilarious.
One time I heard him say, last night I was Skyping with Kobe Bryant and we all sat down. We started talking about the Lakers. What were we talking about?
What?
I don't know what you're talking
I have
about.
no idea.
I lost 3 words of your sentence.
So did I.
Did your mic drop out?
No
What's
idea.
going on?
Then I shut that computer, opened up another computer. I got Marcus All and Pau Gasol and Steve Nash together on a go-to meeting. We all started talking about the Lakers. I'm like, come on, man. What am I talking about?
When did First Take become a Chaplin movie? I have no idea. Then I took out a Ouija board. I got in touch with Wilt Chamberlain. I'm like, come on, man, you did. How dare the Lakers don't have Dwight Howard? Don't have... Come on, Skip. Then I got a tomato can. I connected a string to another tomato can. At the other end of the tomato can was Kiki Vandeweghe. I said, man, from a GM perspective, how bad are the Lakers? Same joke 5 times. We literally can't stop. Can't do it. Don't feel bad for Stephen A. Smith, though. He is a millionaire. He was born at the right time. In a very Malcolm Gladwellian way, he was born at the right time.
That's right.
Okay, if he was born 40 years earlier, he wouldn't be a millionaire.
No, he'd be a crazy guy on a street corner yelling about the civil rights movement.
In the exact same way.
Last night I was on a rotary phone. I was talking to Abby Hoffman about the Chicago 7. I'm like, you got 3 people doing the work of 7 people like the Lakers in 2013.
What are we talking about, Skip?
Then I sat down on the bus next to Rosa Parks. I looked her dead in the eye. I said, while we talking about buses, what's going to happen in 50 years when Dr. Jerry Bus died? Who's going to make the decision for the Lakers? What am I talking about?
Meanwhile, how crazy would it be if on that day when Rosa Parks was on the bus, Stephen A. Smith sat down next to her and started arguing with her?
I feel like she would have been like, you know what? I'm going to walk.
Honestly, fuck it. What's so great about the bus? Really,
right,
guys?
right. Pick your battles. That's the lesson we learned today. I love sports. We love athletes because of the stories behind the athletes. They're so good. Actually, none better than Lance Armstrong.
Oh, that's like a Greek tragedy.
It's Dickensian. It's crazy, right? So he wins 7 Tour de France's,
Top of the world.
beats cancer.
Dates the Hot Olsen twin.
There's a difference.
There is a bit of a
There's
difference between them.
Then he admits to doping, and they strip him of the titles.
They're going to give him back the cancer for 2
2 months.
Which
That's
why I
just-
don't understand that. That just seems a
Why
little
is the
bit-
biking community so punitive?
They're
I don't
vindictive.
understand. They're gonna make him date the ugly Olsen twin.
Which is
you know
worse than
that's just
cancer. Because how do you have sex with a skeleton?
Very,
I don't know. Day in and
very
day out.
carefully, very delicately.
You become a power bottom and then you just live with it.
That's
your
right.
only. She's taking away sexual options.
That's it. I felt bad for the guy until he tweeted that picture of himself just hanging out in his Austin rec room with the 7 yellow Tour de France winning jerseys. They just happened to be framed up perfectly in the photo. Here was the caption of the photo. Back in Austin, just hanging out.
Just hanging out? We saw that photo and caption. We were like, Jesus Christ, the ball on this guy. I mean, seriously.
We started with the ball on this guy and wrote the joke
We
backwards.
should have did
That's
that to you guys. Yeah.
never a good way to do comedy.
No. It's like building a house from the roof down. You just don't want to do it too much.
No, not a good foundation right there. Love it. So because we live in Southern California, it's easy to get there. We drive our kids down to Disneyland all the time. It's
And
like
Disneyland has changed a little bit since we were kids.
Yeah.
In subtle ways. Mostly with the characters, the Disney characters that wander around the park. Because when we were kids, number one, they couldn't talk to you,
So that was creepy. 10 minutes interacting with a giant furry thing that's not talking to you.
right? And number two, back when we were kids, they were hard to find in the park.
And when you found them, you weren't always happy. When we were 6 years old, we were at Disneyland and we were looking for Goofy all day. We're like, is that good? Is that good?
Oh,
And-
I think that's Goofy. Oh, crap, he's smoking.
Oh, he's on
all
break.
right. Goofy's on break.
That's right. Wait a minute. Is he being subpoenaed
He's
right
getting
now?
served
They're getting served
papers,
papers.
yeah.
Are they running his plates?
They're
That's
running-
a bench warrant.
That is a bench warrant.
We're 6 years old. How the hell do we know what a bench warrant
I don't
is?
know.
That's so strange.
We're so up on the legal system. But now, the characters are all over the park. They have little stanchions, little lines. You can walk up, take your picture, buy it off the internet. It's amazing. And they have the cars from the movie Cars driving around the park with pre-recorded messages in them so you can have a conversation with the cars.
This blew his 5-year-old son's mind.
My son loved the movie Cars so much, he made me watch the shitty movie Planes twice.
That's a kid who loves transportation that can talk, right
That's
there.
how much he loved Cars.
Yeah.
So when we see Lightning McQueen pull out and there's no line, it was magic for us. I scoop up my son, we go over to the car, and before we can say anything, the car's like,
Who's my little racer?
and my son turns and looks at me and he's like, what the fuck is going on right here? And with a look, and I was like, you gotta talk to the car, talk to the car.
Who's my little racer?
And my son's like, Liev,
Awesome! How old are you?
I'm 4.
Good chow! What's going on?
I'm at Disneyland.
Awesome!
Greatest conversation
Greatest
I've ever heard in my
conversation
entire
ever.
life.
Maybe the longest conversation anyone's ever had with his son.
Definitely the longest conversation. And it was a great father-son moment. I high-fived my son, he high-fived me. We high-fived the car for some
Why?
reason. And then I don't know why I did the next thing I did. Scooped at my son, I turned and I looked to see who was next in line.
That's just something you don't want to open up right
And it
there.
got really sad really quick because I saw a middle-aged woman, no kids. She wanted to talk to the car
Just
for a little while.
little conversation with the car
Get
right
some
here.
things off her chest.
Yeah. Now here's the double standard. If you're a middle-aged woman with no kids at Disneyland, no one bothers you.
You can roam freely wherever you want in the park.
If you're a middle-aged man with no kids at Disneyland, you are a red dot on a Google map.
That's right. Get ready to get tased into oblivion
That's right.
in front of It's a Small World.
That's right. It is a small world now, brother.
So in this moment, I see this woman approaching the car, and the dad in me should have scooped up my son and just walked away. But the comedian in me was like, let's see how this shit plays out. Because it's gonna be hilarious. Because it's the same pre-recorded messages, but it's gonna be a very different conversation.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so I hang on to my son. This woman walks up to the car, and she's like lethargic too. I'm like, put some pep in that step. You volunteered to be here. She approaches the car, and the car's like,
Who's my little racer?
and she's like, Barbara,
Awesome! How old are you?
I'm 49.
Ka-chow! What's going on?
Well, I stopped cooking for myself. Just got too sad to keep clearing the leftovers out of the fridge 3 days after I make something because cookbooks don't make portions for one person. I found that out the hard way.
Awesome! What else is going on?
Well, if we're being honest, it's been about 3 years since I've had a vaginal orgasm.
Like, you know that even though they were pre-recorded messages...
I could feel the car wanting to extract itself from the conversation.
Be like, all right, I gotta go fuel up back in the garage.
But you just came from the garage.
Yeah, next time, bring your niece. Beep, beep.
All right, guys, that's a heck of a lot of comedy to talk about right there. There's a lot to digest as we've hit halftime of this Hamish Comedy Festival that the Sklar's are putting out there in Madison, Wisconsin. How do you see this one ending up, with Randy or Jason on top?
You know what, they're a great team, but in every team, there's always a Jordan and there's a Pippen. I think Randy's gonna come out and lead the second half. I watched him during warm-ups. He had a little icy hot patch on the back. I think he's feeling a little bit more loose, and he's gonna finish strong.
Dwight, your thoughts?
I think Randy takes hold, he takes charge, but I think Jason is the finisher. And now we're talking about the third and fourth quarter.
Omar, your thoughts?
But one thing that they are doing for me is proving something that I've always thought was true, that all white folks look alike. So it really doesn't matter who comes out on top because it's either Jason or Randy.
Well, these white folks look alike, literally. They
Right.
look alike. I mean, so that they've got that going for them.
True.
And I just want to give my opinion here. It is Madison, Wisconsin. I went to a Big Ten school. These folks are probably more hammered now than they were in the beginning of the show.
Yes.
And it's going to be a looser crowd. I just want to make sure the Sklars don't take that for granted.
No.
And that they just focus and finish here, because you could take a look at that crowd. It's looser. They might sit here and think it's an easy second half of comedy, but you know that's where you can really get tripped up.
No, absolutely, and that's why Jason's so important. He's the finisher. He's going to close it.
Okay, now let's get back to the second half of this comedy special from the Sklars in Madison, Wisconsin.
We often talk about this with friends of ours who are parents of kids. Like, one thing that you kind of try and do as parents is teach your kids, if something doesn't make sense, question it.
Which is, by the way, very hard to do with little kids, because as a parent, you're just so tired all the time.
He's tired all
You're
the
just
time.
like, God, just go to bed. Honestly, let's everybody just be quiet for a while. But you actually should stand up, and if something doesn't make sense, you need to teach your kids to ask questions
And
about
you
it.
teach them that lesson early on. Like, it starts with like the nursery rhymes, like 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed.
It's the worst.
One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said, no more monkeys jumping on the bed.
We all know it.
Yeah, everyone likes it.
And it almost makes sense.
Until you think about that story from the perspective of the doctor.
The doctor who keeps getting this crazy-ass phone call.
Oh, yeah.
From clearly a mentally ill woman.
Oh, she's deranged.
Who's somehow allowed to own a lot of monkeys?
Oh, yeah. And they are not permitted primates. Those
No.
are black market Japanese meacocks.
Yeah.
Bought at a Burlington Coat Factory parking lot at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
You know that. Out of a brown paper bag.
Yeah. So this poor doctor has to field that phone call all day long.
We have never heard his half of the phone conversation. 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said,
It's the weekend. I am kind of hanging out with my family right now, and that's not really a medical question, just you reporting to me that animals are jumping on your furniture. I mean, honestly, I don't know what to do. I guess as a person with common sense, I would say don't have the monkeys jump. No more monkeys jumping on the bed. Look at that. Look what we just came up with there, huh? Hey, I tell you what, go ahead and apply that to all the monkeys. No need to call me as each one careens off of your bed into your nightstand. Oh, look, I think I see my daughter growing up. I should probably get off the phone with you.
4 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said,
Are you fucking shitting me with that stupid question? Do the thing I told you to do 5 minutes ago. Have a 0 monkey jumping on the bed tolerance policy in your house, and you'll be okay.
3 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said,
I have a weird idea. How about you call a veterinarian, because they're fucking monkeys, okay? I'm your son's optometrist. I'm barely a doctor myself.
2 little monkeys jumping on the bed. One fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said,
I'm gonna write you a prescription for Paxil because I don't know if there are any monkeys at this point. To be honest, I don't even know if there's a bed. You seem like someone who just sleeps on a rag on the floor. Here's what I do know. I'm at my niece's quinceañera, and I'm still talking to you.
One little monkey jumped on the bed. He fell off and bumped his head. Mama called the doctor, and the doctor said,
Honestly, I hope they all fucking jump off the bed. I hope they all bump their heads. I hope one goes crazy, rips your face off, and I Google it. That's how much.
slam down that iPhone 5. And its crappy charger.
Oh, that is a horrible charger, that iPhone 5 charger. The only charger worse than the iPhone 5 charger is Phillip Rivers.
There you go.
I said
All
it.
right. Not afraid to say it in Wisconsin.
Yeah, come get me. Don't kid yourself. He'll ruin every fantasy team he's on, right? 17 points and a little chicken wing bullshit throw doesn't cut it. Doesn't cut it.
So you're saying he should put on some shape-ups like Joe Montana and throw the football out of the stadium?
That's
Is that
all
what
I'm
you're
saying.
How crazy was that commercial? Joe Montana puts on shape-ups to go play football.
That's your first indication that the person who made the commercial does not understand football.
Why would you want to put a curved bottom shoes to play a contact sport? All right, that's weird. Then he takes the football, drops back to pass, throws it out of the stadium.
Out of the stadium. Throwing a football out of the stadium under no circumstances is a good football play.
How did they draw that up in the huddle? All right, listen, you're going to run about 7 yards this way. You're going to pick the defender. You're going to do a skinny post down the sideline.
What are you going to do, Joe?
I'm going to throw the ball into the San Francisco Bay.
All right, let's do this. Blue 42.
Why are you making the call?
I don't know. I'm the wide receiver who oversteps his bounds.
All right, good.
Let's do this.
That is 2nd and 10 at best,
Yes.
really, if you ask me. If you
That's
can
the best case scenario.
If you can find the damn ball, maybe.